that he knocked me on my ass. So I respected it. You know,
Right.
even as he's dying, he's
Right.
still competing. And I was like, yep, he did. He undercut me. But I hear I'm telling PR at ESPN. Yeah, but I scored. Like the next I scored on. Like, shut up. You know, what am I doing?
All right, welcome back to another episode of Nanodosing. This is going to be a good one. We've got Arian. He's back into watching football, so we're going to get some football takes from him. Billy gives us a completely 100% accurate preview of Bills Jets about to be played on Monday Night Football, so I'm rooting for him to be wildly incorrect because it'll be a great clip. We've got the Tennessee Minute coming up with Big T sharing his thoughts, and a great interview with Dan Patrick. That's right, Dan Patrick from the Dan Patrick Show, from ESPN Sports Center, from CNN. Great interview with him coming up. And we also talk a little bit about the JFK assassination, some new evidence that just came to light over the course of the weekend. All right, welcome back to Nanodosing. It's Tuesday. It is September 12th. The New York Jets, finish the sentence, Billy. This is coming out on Tuesday. The New York Jets have just blanked to the Buffalo Bills.
They've just beat the Buffalo Bills. They're 1-0, and they've shown up.
They've shown up.
The AFC East will never be the same.
Ever. At least
Ever.
for the next 2 years while Aaron Rodgers is there.
And then it will be handed to Zach Wilson, who will know how to drive at that point, and we will have a dynasty like never before seen.
Never before seen. Okay, I love it.
United States.
We're definitely going to clip that if Billy's wrong, and if he's right, we're going to act like it never happened. Okay?
I think Josh Allen's going to get his ass beat, like handed to him, like the shit beat out of him. And he's going to be like shook as fuck. And the Bills offense won't be able to put a drive together.
What a analysis.
Keep going, Billy.
Yeah.
Keep going. Give me more details about
No.
this.
Like Josh Allen's going to get his ass whooped. And he's going to be walking out there like, holy shit. Like, what's going on? Like, I can't play my game. I'm not the baddest motherfucker out there. I've been punched in the mouth, and now I have no plan. He's going to be like Israel Adesanya, but the Jets defense is Sean Strickland. Just get his ass whooped and have no idea what to do. Hang in there, and then hopefully, if Aaron Rodgers and all the hype is true, if he has a day, if he operates as we think he is, if nothing crazy happens, like someone roofies him before the game, he's going to throw a couple touchdowns. We're going to see an electric offense. And if it all goes to plan, New York wins. Jets win.
I really want this to be another 40-0 game.
I know.
Yeah,
so
bro.
awesome.
Hey, yo,
This
I
clip
don't
would
even
do
care who wins
numbers.
the game, but now I want the Jets to lose. Just for
Nope.
just for the lows.
I'm with you, Aaron. I
If
think I'm going to have to lay a nuclear missile on the Buffalo Bills tonight.
if
Oh,
Buffalo wins, I will eat buffalo wings every day for the rest of the week.
Oh, no. That sounds awful,
Oh.
Billy. You know what? I will, too. I'll do that, too. I'll match and double. I'll do it for 2 weeks. And also, if Buffalo loses, I'll also do that.
I was just going to say I'll do it if they win or lose.
There you go.
So y'all just gonna eat wings for 2 weeks straight?
Yeah.
That's actually really healthy if you only eat wings.
I don't
Billy's
think
right.
so.
You'll drop I guarantee you, if you only eat buffalo wings with no other types of dressing or like sauce,
sauce.
you will lose weight.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you're just eating chicken then. Okay.
No
But
blue
that's not
cheese.
Buffalo wings.
Chicken ain't buffalo wing?
No, I'm saying what Billy's describing isn't buffalo wings. You're talking about just chicken wings that are baked and there's no sauce or seasoning.
No, there's sauce. Buffalo sauce is on them, but you can't like put like sweet.
You just said no
Mango.
sauce.
I said no other sauce. Buffalo sauce is okay because there's 0 carbs.
I don't know about this.
low carb.
If you eat nothing but buffalo wings for a week straight, you're saying you'll lose weight?
Yes, your body will start burning fat because it doesn't have any carbs.
I don't
what,
know about
Aaron?
this. I'll take this bet. though.
Doesn't buffalo sauce have a ton of butter in it?
Let's do this.
We're not
That's
talking about
not carbs.
Let's do this. I'll take this bet. I don't know the answer to this question, right? But I'm willing to let's create the hypothesis.
Mhm.
Right? You're saying you're gonna lose weight. You're gonna do this for a week, dog?
If Buffalo wins.
Or only if Buffalo wins. Okay. Well, shit, Big T, you gonna do it anyway, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, well then everybody just fizzled out. Then fuck it, never mind.
You know,
I
I'll do
think.
it for
I
the sake
mean,
of
Billy's the
context.
one.
I'll do it.
Billy's the
I'll
one
do it. I'll do it.
hypothesizing this. He should do it.
All right,
I'll do it.
you got to do this. Here's what you do. You get on a scale today. Get on a scale today. As soon as we get off this, you get on a scale. You take a picture of you on a scale, butt naked. I don't want to see. I just want to see your feet. I don't want to see anything else.
Yep.
Butt naked on a scale.
I got to blur the feet.
And every day, sure, man. And every day, I want a video of your meals. I want 3 meals a day. Or how many times?
I only eat 2.
Okay, it's fine. Lunch wings, dinner wings, and I want you to do this for a week. And I want to see the gains or losses. I want to see what happens. Let's do it.
Does it have to be buffalo, or could I like eat rotisserie?
No,
We said
buffalo.
buffalo.
You just said that's a completely different thing.
Okay, no, but like
You talking about
I'm
baked
gonna get
chicken
bored
with
with it.
green beans and carrot? Like, no, bro.
No, I'm gonna do the buffalo wings, but like,
buffalo wings.
yeah,
Right,
You can
buffalo wings
put-
for a week
how-
straight.
Billy, you can put varying sauces on them.
that's what I'm asking.
Yes, you can switch
Yeah.
up the
Okay.
sauces, but
As
they
long as
have
there's 0 carbs, yeah.
but they have to be fried buffalo wings or baked buffalo wings, but preferably fried.
Mhm.
You can put whatever sauce that you want on them, but you have to eat at least like I'd say every other day. You have to have at least one set of true buffalo wings with the red sauce.
Yeah. Or even once a day.
Or once a day. Yeah. But if you
Yeah.
do that 7 days,
Yeah.
okay. Will you do that, Billy? Starting now.
Nice.
Till
Today.
Friday.
That's not
5
that's
days.
not a-
So 4 days.
Yeah.
Hey.
So
It's not a week.
I'll wait. I said to the rest of the week. That's what I said.
All right, so Friday.
I bet I'll lose weight by Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
You have to keep a vlog of this though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to see every meal.
Yeah. I will do
send
a
it to the
TikTok
group every
every
meal.
day.
Every meal. So I want to see it on the phone.
All right,
right.
Billy,
The
blog
Buffalo Billy Challenge.
I will. Yeah, the Buffalo Billy Challenge. Perfect.
Yeah.
blog it and TikTok it.
Yeah.
And say like I Billy Football will be eating buffalo wings for every meal to prove that buffalo wings are a superfood and that they will make you lose weight.
Right. And I'm doing this notwithstanding. If the Jets win, I'm still doing this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
If this is
All right.
true, I mean, this could go crazy viral. This could be a breakthrough for a lot of people.
I literally proved this back in 2017.
I might become the most healthy man on earth if this is the case.
I'm going to be low energy, though. I can drink whatever I want, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's just water, man.
That's
Like,
gonna be antithetical to your goal.
I know. But like, I'm thinking because like pre-workout, like I need a little sugar because
Yeah, you can drink whatever you want.
Yeah,
sweet,
sweet.
man. Get your pre-workout in, get your creatine in, whatever you got to do, man.
Dude, I needed this. This would be dope.
You needed to eat buffalo wings for a week.
Yeah, no, I needed a cut.
Okay.
I mean, I'm running around at like 237. Like I'm like
Damn,
at my
Billy.
playing weight, but it's not the
Man,
same
you
type
can bang,
of weight.
You can bang
dude.
with me right now, Billy. Okay.
Yeah, dude. We said
heavyweights.
same weight class.
Heavyweight.
Yo, just early December, rough and rowdy. We could just 3 1-minute rounds, just a little sparring.
Billy, I
make
will
little-
beat the dog shit out of you, Billy.
Dude, it would be
Oh,
dope.
I want
It would be
that.
dope.
I want that
Like-
so bad.
It would be dope.
Right. None of y'all are gonna gas me to whoop Billy's ass in a boxing ring for no amount of money.
No
Now,
amount
You
of
wouldn't
money.
whoop my ass though. That's
Billy, I
you'd
would
be
beat the
pleasantly
dog shit
surprised.
out of
How much
Billy, I
money
would beat
did how
dog
much money
shit.
did Jose Canseco get, Billy?
I think he made around like $4 million
Ain't no fucking
in
way.
180 seconds.
Okay, time I said
of
no amount
work.
of money. Now you trying to tell me I could beat your ass in a ring and get 4 M's?
You could also be embarrassed like him.
That's not gonna happen, Billy. We both know.
No,
it.
look, Strickland beat
I'll-
Adesanya with a 1 and a
I'll
2.
whoop Jose Canseco ass too. I'm not gonna let you knock me out, Billy. It's not gonna happen. But anyway,
You would. I probably. No one would probably get knocked
How the
out
fuck-
at
Time out.
180
You know the
seconds.
amount's less than 4 million.
we kind of talked about it, but how the fuck did you let that man get $4 million and you didn't get nowhere near that?
Look, dude, I had zero. Sometimes I don't. No comment.
Well, here's the
Okay.
deal. Here's the deal. If Billy just fights in a boxing match against nobody, then it's like, yeah, people will tune in and watch Billy fight. People are interested. People prey on Billy's downfall. A lot of haters will tune in to hope he gets his ass kicked. Some people will tune in because they're big fans of Billy. Some people tune in just because it's a wild scene. But when you combine him with Jose Canseco, then it becomes a much bigger story than just Billy against a random person. If it's Billy against Arian Foster, I feel like that's also a pretty big story. I don't know if it would get up to the the $1 million range because Jose Canseco is like a fucking, he's well known for being a lunatic weirdo. But with Arian, I bet we could guarantee you at least $500,000, Arian.
Yeah, you're not gonna gas me up for this.
But dude, it's 180 seconds, dude. It's
Billy,
it's like the easiest work.
Billy, I'm not gonna box you for money, dog. Like, what are we talking? I'm not gonna do it, man.
Will
what
you box him for free?
No, I'm not boxing Billy, man. Why are we fighting Billy? I'm already got his fans on my bumper every fucking episode. I'm not boxing Billy. I got no beef with Billy in real life, yo.
You know what?
It sounds like you got beef with me though. Now that
no, I just want a paycheck, dude. I just want a paycheck and an excuse to work out and get into killer shape.
Hey, how the fuck does go from eating wings for a week to boxing Billy for $500,000? That shit's crazy.
Billy's just always he is looking for a paycheck.
By the way, in the future,
if Billy could get pregnant, he would trap so many people into child support.
Are you saying men can't get pregnant?
I'm saying Billy can't.
I don't know that.
Oh yeah,
politically
you want to make a Buffalo Billy baby bet?
I'll take that bet that you can't get pregnant.
All right.
I'll take that bet, man.
I think what you think about Big T is that if a woman transitions to being a male, they still have their internal
anyone can get pregnant,
and so then biologically speaking,
anyone can get pregnant.
There's womb transplants that's on the horizon. I think they've been done, just they're not commercially available.
Yeah, but then I don't know. That's above my pay grade. I
don't know nor care enough about it, man. Call yourself what you want. I'll address you as such. I don't care.
Live your life. That's what
Live
I
your
say.
life, man.
All right, so let's talk. Arian, you watched football this weekend.
I did. You're
back into watching football. I'm very proud of you.
I wouldn't say that, man. You sucked me in a little pause. You got me watching football a little bit. But and I enjoyed myself this weekend. I did. I didn't do shit. I just watched football, cooked, hung out with my kids, kicked it, man. I had a good time watching football.
What'd you watch?
Let's see. Yesterday I watched the Texans versus who they play? Baltimore
Ravens.
Yeah, I watched that game. I watched a little bit of the Chicago Green Bay game. And then I watched the Dallas Giants game. They got thumped. And I also watched the Eagles and
Patriots.
Yeah. So I was watching football. I was a football guy yesterday for sure.
What'd you think about the Texans?
Actually, I was really impressed with CJ Stroud. Is it CJ?
Yep.
Yeah. I was really impressed with how he kind of like managed the game. Very solid quarterback. I think he's going to be very good for them. I think he need the receiver Woods. I forget his name. Number 2.
I don't know.
It might be Robert Woods. Which I think his dad and my dad went to high school together actually. But anyway, he had a really solid game too. What more impressed me more than anything, which I knew because I played with Miko Ryans. He's the head coach, Houston now. Their defense looks really solid, man. It's not like perfect, but from the game that I saw them last year, it's a night and day difference. The attitude is different. I don't know that this is a playoff team, but I think Miko is starting to steer the ship in the correct direction. They definitely need a running game. No disrespect to, I think they got Damian Pierce right now.
Pierce is good, I think.
I think he's a good back. I just think that having a young quarterback, that I don't think they have a receiver that can stretch the field like that. From what I saw, I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of film. I just watched the game, and so I think you got to be able to stretch the field to open up that box. There wasn't a lot of running lane there for him. It was tough sledding today, but I think they have a solid team. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if they're a playoff team, but I think they'll shock some people and win some games they're not supposed to this year.
I like that you're a Stroud boy too.
How do you
call me a boy? But I definitely like the way he plays the game.
No, we're Stroud boys.
Stand back and stand by. But what did you think of CJ Stroud's ability with the pressure? Like, to me, that was the first time I think he's seen that type of pressure since like pre-high school. Because think about it, he had not that crazy pressure at Ohio State. His high school team was probably, like undefeated, like insane.
play
I actually got to
against
check that
Georgia.
out. But
I
you could
was
just tell
fixing to
he's
say,
never.
played pretty well against the best defense in the country.
No, but his protection, that was probably the worst O-line he's ever played with.
in the NFL.
Like comparatively. Yeah, no, like comparatively skill wise. Like he was getting eaten up the whole game.
I don't think that, again, like I don't think it was necessarily the O-line's fault. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into pass protection, but like for one, I think they didn't have I don't think their game plan was like, let's hit him deep. I don't think that was their game plan. Their game plan was like, let's pick apart the zone. And let's try to win on some man routes. Because Baltimore will run a lot of man. So I didn't necessarily see it like that. I think he did a very good job. Like for his first, this is rookie in his first NFL game, managed the game well, didn't make any mistakes that cost your team. That's the biggest thing. Like he didn't look panicked. I thought he managed the game well. Like I said, I just think it was a very good defense. I think it's Dan Quinn is the defense coordinator, if I'm not mistaken. He always had his mentality is like ball hawking, like dudes coming punching balls out like that, just swarming. Like that's kind of Dan Quinn's style. I think he played well, man. I don't think the score is indicative of how the game was played, honestly. Like I said, I think if you're a Houston fan, I think you're happy with what he has to bring to the table.
Dan Quinn, he's the coordinator for the Cowboys.
Oh, well then that's what I saw then. Okay, so I mixed who's the Baltimore quarterback?
That would be Mike McDonald.
Okay, I have no idea what his style is, but but from what I saw, I didn't see any like major mistakes from him. I think that was the main thing that I took away from him. That is the Dallas game that I saw where it was like really ball hawking. You're correct.
I don't think he's like other Ohio State quarterbacks. Everyone's been saying that, like, oh, there's never been a successful Ohio State quarterback in the recent future. I think he definitely breaks that mold.
There's been no successful Ohio State quarterbacks.
Justin Fields was good last year.
That's
still yet to be.
What do you define success full as?
Like, I don't think that. I don't think
top 10 in the NFL.
Well, I mean, Billy's it's objectively correct. Like Ohio State hasn't had good quarterback. The best Ohio State quarterback is Joe Burrow, and he didn't play at Ohio State. He was there for like a year or two.
Like a lot of guys have great success at Ohio State, and then they go to the NFL and they're not insane. That's what the critics are saying, but I don't think CJ Stroud is going to be one of these guys. I think he actually, like, by his mobility, and I watched every single throw from his debut this morning, and I wrote a write-up, one-stop click for all your rookie starting quarterback week 1 needs. Check it out on the blog. And he was under a lot of pressure and dealt with, a very tough Ravens pass rush. But I think he did make some absolute dimes, and he's a much more accurate quarterback than people think. Give him credit for.
I guess I've just given this no thought before, and I'm looking like the most notable Ohio State quarterbacks, and they're all like they have like really good college careers, and then they kind of fizzle out in the league. Troy Smith, I remember Troy Smith.
Bad.
He had a long career though as a backup.
He ended up being a backup for a while, yeah.
Like Braxton Miller. Braxton Miller was like the de facto.
Well, yeah, he didn't even end up playing quarterback,
right? But like in my
Terrell
brain,
Pryor, same.
He had 1 year where it looked like he might be good,
and
then he never.
On the Raiders,
JT
right?
Barrett,
Yep.
Bad.
Yep.
Damn,
and then
Terrell Pryor, he ended up being a receiver too.
Cardale
Dwayne
Jones.
Haskins, R.I.P.
He died.
I wasn't gonna speak ill of the
How did he die?
deceased.
He didn't get a chance, but like he's another guy with a great college career.
He got hit by a car.
That's right. That's right. God,
he was actually. That's a really. Did you hear what came out recently? This is a really sad story. Apparently, he was getting drugged and robbed.
Oh, really?
So,
wow.
Yeah, it wasn't just a whack. It was a very unfortunate story.
Jesus.
Who is the guy with the huge arm?
Craig Krenzel. Man, these some throwback names, man.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Yeah, I had never given this any thought that Ohio State quarterbacks don't. Damn. Well,
but I think CJ Stroud breaks that
I mean,
Breaks
Justin
that-
Fields, he just had like 1,000 yards rushing, bro. What is successful? I mean, that's a very successful. It's what, second year
Justin
in the NFL?
Fields is a very hot button, I would say, NFL quarterback as to whether he's good or not.
I thought he was very good last year.
He has had no supporting cast whatsoever, really.
I talked about it a little bit on part of my take yesterday, but I want to get your guys' feedback on this. With a running quarterback, if you have like a very dynamic, playmaking, athletic quarterback, it always tends to follow the same pattern, which is they'll have some success early and they're able to run around, break the pocket, make plays downfield. If they keep their eyes down there, they'll make outstanding runs. And then as they kind of solidify into like, this dude can play, then they try to like shrink the playbook a little bit and say, all right, you were very good, but we want to make sure that you stay healthy. We want you to progress as a pocket passer. And then they tell them, okay, we're gonna install an offense that's more about getting the ball downfield and less about you using your legs, so that we can extend your career. And then that happens, and then the quarterback's not nearly as good because they're not using their legs. And then eventually the offense will be like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just let him run the ball again. Then he gets good again. I think that's what we're seeing with Justin Fields.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson is a guy who really looked good for a week one rookie.
Yeah.
And I think he follows the same mold. But I think he's actually, built more to run. Like he had some amazing passes, but I think he's more durable than Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields, the way they're playing them.
I think the game is changing, right? Well, I know the game is changing, right? So like I think what you're thinking about, PFT, is like the running quarterbacks we grew up watching, right? The Mike Vicks, the Randall Cunninghams, the Donovan McNabbs. Like, I don't think those rules apply to this generation anymore because the actual rules have changed, right? You're not allowed to hit the quarterback like you were back then anymore. And so I think what you're going to see is longevity for these running quarterbacks in an entirely different way than when in our generation, when you can have. I was talking about this to one of my dudes who has a YouTube channel who's great, does great content. And he was doing a video about the running back position and how it's like getting devalued and all this. And one of the points that I was making to him was like that the game is changing, right? And it's not that the game is evolving, it's that they're changing the rules in a way that makes it so the quarterback is the marquee position, and so we have to treat him as such, so he gets treated differently. But also that's changing everything else. So it's also changing how receivers look. Like Tyreek Hill as a number one is wild to me growing up in the football era that I grew up in, where because you had to worry about going across the middle, right? Because you would get knocked, but they don't have to worry about that anymore. So now receivers are looking more small and more speed because they don't have to take those hits anymore. You don't have to be long and big bodied anymore. And so the entire game is changing. And so I think because of the rule implementations, you're going to see the longevity of these running quarterbacks last a little longer because they ain't allowed to get hit like that anymore. I remember when Mike Vick used to get hit versus Peyton Manning, right? They threw flags at different rates because, well, he's a runner outside of the pocket. Now they're treating all quarterbacks like Peyton Manning. And so, whereas before it was like they treated pocket passers different than they did runners. And so, but now they're treating all quarterbacks like you just can't touch them. You just can't touch them. And so they have the slide button, you know what I mean? You can slide it at any time. And so it's just a different era, it's a different league. So I think, to your point, I just think it's going to change. And so they're going to have more longevity and just be better for longer now.
I hope you're right. I really do. I think that offensive coordinators, though, they still have the mindset of like, we got to protect this guy and we can turn him into like a passer, like in the traditional sense where you don't have to be running around a lot. And I feel like with Justin Fields, if you try to make him just a pocket passer, you're getting rid of all the good stuff that makes him awesome to begin with. And the game plan that they had yesterday was it was so fucking boring. He was like, he's not great at just taking a 3-step drop and then, going through 1 or 2 progressions yet. He needs to get out in space because he's the best guy in the league right now at running with a football in his hands. So
yeah,
let him do that.
Yeah, he's really done that. On top of that, like, I know this sounds woke to all y'all, but like, it's the truth. It's crazy. Like, 17 black quarterbacks started yesterday in the National Football League. That's crazy. And so like, it shows you kind of how and where the league is going and it's coming from the college game where it's like we need mobile quarterbacks. Mobile quarterbacks is where the game is moving to, and so like the league is changing, man. It's wow. It's not the game I grew up knowing.
Yeah, I mean, even like the really good passers out there, you have to be able to move around a little bit. You don't see too many of like Peyton Manning was kind of rare, where he was able to like manipulate the pocket a little bit and slide back and forth, but especially in the back half of his career, he was just like a statue. Like but he was still good. He was still really good. But most quarterbacks that are coming up through college, you have to be able to like at least be a threat, keep the defense honest with your legs.
Yep. And it changes everything too, which is also why like I was noticing yesterday, like especially in the college game. The college game, what I noticed watching this weekend was, God, there just like are no 8-man boxes anymore. You know what I'm saying? 7, 8-man. It's all 6, 5-man boxes. And it's just like, if you remember, I studied this. If you remember Barry Sanders' 2,000-yard season, his first 2 games, I think he had like 50 yards each game, something like that in his first 2 games. And then he just went on a tear. And it's because they realized they kept stacking the box. So they had to spread the field a little bit more and they opened it up. And they saw a lot of 6 and 7-man boxes and they let them get busy. And so that's what you're seeing in the college level right now. I didn't see one fullback the entire college. I didn't see a fullback at all. And so the game has just changed so much that the running backs now, like if you look at Colorado, like I was looking at Colorado, like they would highly benefit from somebody who could tote the rock, like a big back, but they just have these small little scat backs because that's how they recruit. That's where the game is going. It's not, they don't have like that bell cow back is like disappearing. They want everybody small, scat, little track runners. That's what they want.
Iowa still has a fullback. Their fullback's like 6'5", 260 pounds. It's awesome.
Which, if it tells you anything about having an offense that uses a fullback, their offensive coordinator is on a points count this year that he has to reach to not get fired.
He's on a performance improvement plan.
Yeah, they have to average 25 points a game for him to not get fired. And so far, they've scored 24 and 20, I think.
Oh, that's tough.
So he has to get.
We should tally it after every game and see where my guys are at.
They have to get to.
They got to
get to 325.
They're gonna play like Iowa, like some small school, and like score 100
Run
points,
it up.
which actually would be sick.
Their first game was against, I believe, Utah State. So, and they only didn't even get there.
Let's look at their schedule and see who.
The second game, because that one came after the Colorado game. They played Iowa State, so it was Iowa versus Iowa State, which is like
what Arian's describing right now. Also, is just like the entire college football landscape is becoming the Big 12. The Big 12, they started to spread everything out, and then defense. Big 12 got a lot of shit because of their defense.
I think that was the Pac-10 that started that.
Yeah,
you think so?
Pac-12.
Yeah. It was the Pac-10 when it started. That's where Deshaun Jackson came from. Like it was our era where it started, and it was like right after us, like because we still had fullbacks and we were still running I formation. Like, and then right after us, that's when everything started like really spread. Like the Reggie Bush era, like that. They started. Oregon, yep.
I may have, in looking at this Iowa thing, I may have inadvertently found my favorite pick for week 3. Iowa's a 29-point favorite over Western Michigan.
Yeah,
hammer.
They have scored 24 and 20 in their 2 games this season.
What's the over/under?
The total is.
That's the last time they can beat up on a team.
43.
So.
Okay, yeah, I like it, Big T. We're taking the over.
Yeah,
you're taking the over.
We should.
Oh, I was gonna say the Western Michigan.
No, Big T. That's when the offensive coordinator is going to get his average up.
Yeah,
that's the last unranked. That's the last non-big.
If Western Michigan can score 7 points, you're telling me Iowa is going to score more than 35?
Well, what me and Billy are saying is that this is the opportunity for Ferencz to raise his points per game. Like he's going to keep the starters in and go for fucking blood in the fourth quarter.
That could be true, but I mean, it's not like he wasn't trying against Utah State.
No, but this is that's a good point. But I feel like this is an opportunity. Yeah.
No, but like he was messing around, but now he's like thinking. He's looking at his schedule. He's like. Iowa, Penn State, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin. Like he doesn't have any other easy wins. So he's going to take this time to put up at least 40 so he can like have a couple stinkers.
I like it. The 29 though. You're outside of 4 touchdowns.
Dude, this
I
isn't
like Iowa.
rational football. This guy's
I love
coaching
it,
for his
though.
job. He's got to
but
feed his family.
but he can. But you know, the funny thing is he can rationalize it to like his coaching staff too. Like, no, my guys need reps. We need game reps, and we need the starters. And I need my quarterback in there. I need to run. My guys need reps. Like, he can rationalize the shit out of that.
Yes, Billy's right on this. We should do.
I think so.
First macrodosing play. We'll see if we can get it boosted in the Barstool Sportsbook. Probably not. Now that I think about it,
I got 100 on.
Don't actually work with that company.
I got 100
anymore.
on the over.
No, I also you said over. I don't hate under either because Iowa's defense is very good.
Yeah.
So let's say they can hold Western Michigan scoreless. They are not scoring 43 points.
I think I'm going to take Iowa. I'm going to take Iowa minus 29. We'll put a bet out. The Ferentz with benefits. How about that? And this is a good play. This is a smart play because Arian's right, Billy's right. You can rationalize this if you're a coordinator, and you can ensure that you get a few, like a little bonus, some bonus action at the end of the game so that you can keep your job. He's got to feed his family.
Let's have
feed his dad.
Buffalo wings bet. Loser has to do another week of just buffalo wings.
I'm just going to do buffalo wings regardless.
So Western Michigan lost 48-7 to Syracuse this past week. So they might not score.
I like the over
against Iowa's defense.
That's why I'm saying maybe not take the over, but take Iowa.
Yeah,
I like the over. Wait, that means they're going to score over 30. What, 35 it was?
43.
So
I like
combined team total, Arian. So it's Iowa's
offense. No,
I'm
taking over. I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet the barn on that one. I'm taking it over.
Arian for the first ever Arian Foster bet the barn.
That's facts. Facts. Bet the barn. Hey, if you got it, don't bet the rent money ever. But if you got it, put him on Iowa.
Bet within
over.
your means as a form of entertainment, even though we don't have to say that anymore, but we kind of do for a little bit.
But I still kind of agree with that.
Yes. No, it's a good
never
principle to live by.
Never gamble
beer
the
money,
rent
not
money.
rent money.
Never gamble the rent money, man. I've been at too many blackjack tables with dudes pulling their hair out, waiting on what I'm about to do, and I'm just having a drink, playing cards. I'm like, bro, what you want me to do, bro? Hit or not? Because I'm not finna fucking night up.
Billy, what's more in your personal budget, your beer money or your rent money?
What?
It's got to be close. It's got to be close.
I actually, speaking of beer money, I have figured out the greatest economic consumer price index statistic that is just the best.
This will be good.
So the price, so you can tell how expensive the cost of living is in a city by the domestic light beer price. So, for example, New York City is about $7 to $8 domestic light beer. So the price of a Coors Light in each city, I think, is the best way to tell how expensive the city is.
Okay,
and it's the best to wrap your head around. So Hoboken is a $4 or $5 beer city. Manhattan is a $7 or $8 city. Some place like Houston is another $4 to $5 city. And Boston's $4 to $5, and Chicago's probably $4 to $5, but like LA is $8 to $9.
So you're saying that things cost more money in expensive places to live,
right? But the best way you can determine that is the cost of a domestic light beer. So let's say you're pulling into a restaurant first time you're there, you can like tell how much rent is by the cost of a beer.
I don't hate that, Billy. Out of all the things you've said, that's not the dumbest.
That's how I determine how expensive a city is.
Let's do the Tennessee Minute because I'm sure that
not.
you've got some Tennessee takes to get off here.
I don't really have takes. They played poorly. They beat Austin Peay, an FCS team, 30-13 on Saturday. Now it's Florida week, so
Bazooka Joe, how we feeling? Yeah, me too.
I love Joe. He's a great guy and a very talented football player.
Mm-hmm.
And I like him a lot. And I really hope that on Saturday we see some more Orange Bowl Joe than Austin Peay Joe.
What do you think was wrong with him?
He looked very not confident after he missed a few throws, like just throwing short. He used to be overthrow Joe. Now he's underthrow Joe. They're 3 yards in front of guys. There were some that should have been caught that were not necessarily his fault. But big game this week. We need to tighten things up.
Is it though a big game?
Yes.
Cause Florida, like, they shit the bed against Utah. They look hard.
No. You can't talk like this right now because they're like last year. Florida sucked last year, and they played their best game of the season against us. And it's in Gainesville, where we have not won since 2003, before Arian played there, and Arian's old as dirt. This is always a tough game.
Let me get it off.
Yeah, you can't be talking
not that
about a
old.
rival.
I watched a little bit of the Utah-Florida game. They look horrible, bro.
Florida does suck. I don't disagree with you.
If Tennessee doesn't beat Florida by 15 plus, I would be shocked.
Again, this is Florida does suck. That is true, but one, we didn't look awesome this past week, and two, they always find a way. It does not matter how good the teams are; they will play their best game of the season this week.
It's
I
hard
guarantee it.
Pause. It's hard to get up for Austin Peay, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to get up for like a college where you like, that's a college. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Austin Peay people out there, but it's like you watching the game film, you like, man, we looking past. Like, it just is what that's just from being an athlete.
Agree.
It's really hard. And I've always been like this as an athlete. I play better against better competition. I've always been like that. I like when I'm on the other side of the line and I got dogs over there. Something about that gets me going. But when I'm supposed to win, I never really have just been the greatest at like just dominating somebody I'm supposed to dominate. Because it's just like, well, yeah.
I agree, but like, and I was saying that throughout the game, like obviously Florida next week, this is a spot where you would expect them to maybe overlook it a little bit, but they should be good enough to do that also and still win the game easily. And it was not, they really,
I didn't watch, but it was like 30 to 30.
It was 30 to 13, and Austin Peay got stuffed at the goal line in the last minute. It should have been 30 to 20. Like it was not a.
What was the spread?
45.
Ugh.
Did Joe Milton throw it really far yet?
He did have in the first game, he had like a 70-yard pass that was on the money that a guy dropped that should have been an 80-yard touchdown.
That was such a good throw.
That was perfect.
I'm just waiting. I couldn't watch the game. I was watching Texas, Alabama. But
I watched that game too.
That game was sick.
Yeah,
Texas
looks really good, though.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
I think Texas will be in the playoff this year.
Oh, that's
Quinn.
easy. That's easy. That's easy money. That quarterback who found Jesus.
Ewers.
Yeah,
Well, just because he cut his mullet, does that mean he found
Wait,
Jesus?
Is that true? I haven't heard this.
Well, that's what they were harping
He went
on
clean
that
cut, yeah.
during the telecast. They were like, he renewed his faith, and it just has changed every aspect of his life. And they talked about it throughout the thing. And afterwards, he was like, all glory to God. And if it wasn't for God, and I was like, okay.
I did see that. I didn't have sound for most of the game.
That's such a
Well,
smart move on his part because he's got Arch Manning nipping at his heels and like the Texas alum are going to be like, when are we going to see Arch? When are we going to see Arch? And by becoming like a big God guy, it makes it way, way harder. It's like, well, he's such a good kid,
Such a good kid.
I think we should. It's so funny because if he had played like shit against Alabama, none of that would have gotten brought up about like what a great job he's done
At all.
cleaning up.
They wouldn't give a shit about his faith.
It's about go out there and score some fucking points, buddy.
Well, I mean, the time to pull out finding God is if you were doing poorly.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't.
No, he doubled down because he did it before the season. So he laid the groundwork. You know what I'm saying? So like,
right,
he found God before the season. So if he did bad, hey, I'm a God guy now.
You know why he's been doing the God guy? You know what his secret is? His arm strength isn't exactly there. His deep. No, seriously. I know this sounds like what's he hiding? His arm's kind of weak.
He threw two pretty nasty deep touchdowns on Saturday.
Yeah, that was the knock against him in week one.
The first week, yeah.
In week one, there were a lot of people. If like I still pay attention to Austin sports radio, local sports radio. There were a lot of people that were talking about either Arch Manning or Malik Murphy, who is a fucking monster. That's I think he's second on the depth chart behind Quinn Ewers. Yeah. And there were a lot of people being like, Quinn can't throw the ball downfield. His downfield passes are dog shit right now.
Yeah.
And then he went out there against Alabama and he looked great throwing the ball down the field.
Yeah, so that was his one knock. But even in his spring game, there was a little bit of that. Maybe he probably did some footwork drills, like driving the ball downfield drills all week because it became more apparent. But I think that's where people were knocking him. And who's the second string? You said I'm
Malik
forgetting his
Murphy.
name right now. Yeah, he's got a rocket. He's got a cannon arm. He's like Joe Milton-esque, where
he's probably going to transfer. I would imagine he'll probably transfer this offseason.
I really like
the place where he can start.
I really like Buddy from Bama. Like, what's the quarterback name?
Jalen Milroe.
Yeah,
that motherfucker can play, man. I was impressed with him. He made a couple bad breaks here and there. Bama always gonna have a good squad as long as Saban there because they could recruit well. But yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe.
They're gonna have
that's a spicy take, Aaron. Jalen Milroe. I think most people looked at that game and was like, this guy's maybe the problem.
No, hell, what?
He was better than most people were giving him credit for. Like, he's not terrible, but they went from Jalen Hurts to Tua to Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So to go from that and now have Milroe, like,
that's what I'm saying.
he's not what they've had,
high.
but he's fine.
Your bar's too high. Like, your bar's
for
too
Bama
high.
quarterbacks.
That he is a solid quarterback. Like, you can win with him. You can absolutely win with him.
Oh, and then to Bryce Young. After Bryce Young.
Yeah, Bryce.
What year is he?
He is a junior, I want to say.
Oh, I was gonna say if he was like young and he just developed his arm, like he could be.
He can throw though.
He could make it in the NFL.
Maybe I watched a different game. Man got a great arm. I don't say great. He didn't very look that good accurate.
Strong arm, a little inaccurate.
That could be developed. It's early. You know what I'm saying? It's early. Yeah. Like it's the game 2. That you have to give that shit time to develop. See, that's the problem with this win for me microwave now shits. Like football don't work like that. You have to develop chemistry with your team, route running. That's why it takes time to develop these things. I would be willing to bet by the end of the season he's having a great season.
I disagree with that. I don't think.
You disagree with what?
That with the in-season progression, there's not that many guys that like it's either going into the season, you either have it or you don't when it comes to young accuracy.
Hell no, that's
the more reps you get.
But with some of his throws, I mean, it's not all timing; it's placement.
I've only saw that game, so I don't know enough about him. But from what I saw, it just looked like rust. It looked like he can make the throw. It's not that he can't make it. He has an arm. Like he has an arm.
I still think, like, for example, I think Quinn Ewers is still going to have problems with the deep ball in the rest of the season. He may have been on for Bama and it was all clicking, but it's going to come up again.
I just didn't throw too many deep balls. There was a lot of like over routes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he threw a couple really nice deep ones.
There was a touchdown to Xavier Worthy that was probably 40 yards or so. That was a really nice ball that I remember. But
that was the number I know you're talking about. Yeah,
he's either one or four.
It was like wide open. He beat him. Yeah.
Yeah, Texas is very good. Texas and Florida State are the 2 best teams I've seen so far.
Can you read me Texas's schedule for the next couple weeks here?
Yeah, 1 second.
This is the first time this podcast has just been all football.
Yeah, I know.
Football.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited that you are excited about football, Arian.
It was a good weekend, man. A lot going on, but it took me back to my roots.
Texas goes Wyoming at Baylor.
Win.
Kansas.
Win.
Oklahoma.
Always interesting. And
at
Red River S out.
That's
at
the next
Houston,
game I'm watching.
BYU. Kansas State.
Wait, is it at
BYU? Don't play nobody, bro. What?
Kansas State's good, and Oklahoma's okay. No, BYU's at home. Kansas State at home, at TCU, at Iowa State, Texas Tech.
TCU could be difficult. I know
they're going undefeated. Texas,
they're really good.
This is their last year not in the SEC, right?
Correct.
So, yeah, this is their time to win.
Yeah, they might go undefeated this year.
It would be a pretty funny, like, fuck you to the Big 12 that, like, in the year that their commissioner before the season, he was speaking at that Texas Tech booster meeting, and he was, like, basically said, I want Texas Tech to beat Texas, and, like, they're just going to be the best team in the country.
They might be.
And win the Big 12.
I put a future on Texas at halftime of this game against Alabama.
To win the title?
To win the national title.
What was that?
I'll tell you Let me look it up. I felt very strong emotions about Texas football.
I looked this morning at parlaying Georgia, Texas, and Florida State to make the playoff, but it was only like plus 550. It wasn't good enough.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Speaking of odds, did anyone see Sean Strickland beat Israel Adesanya?
Plus 1,200 is what I got Texas at.
I don't hate that.
Yeah. I did not watch it. I saw the recap and I saw some of the highlights.
Sean Strickland was plus 600, and he walked down Israel Adesanya and just beat him with a 1 and a 2.
Yeah,
jab.
Adesanya, from what I saw, and maybe Billy, you watched the fight, so you can maybe educate me. Looked like Adesanya didn't really want to be in a fight.
He got punched in the first round. He got caught in the first round. He was feeling all loosey-goosey, like coming out cocky. He's the champ. And he came in the first round, got caught bad with a hard right, and got put down, and he was tuck-tailed the rest of the fight. Sean Strickland was plus 600, like one of the biggest upsets since Holly Holm beat Ronda Rousey. And he fought him like a man. It was like insane. But
Texas now plus 1,000, so it looks like I'm sharp. Looks like I moved the line a little bit.
Nice.
With my bet. So I want one more thing we got to talk about, and then we'll head out for the day. But this is more along the lines of traditional macrodosing topic. It's brought to you by TrackPhone. Are you paying too much for your wireless plan? Well, Straight Talk just introduced the new Straight Talk multi-line plan, where more lines mean more savings. Just $25 a line per month when you get 4 lines with unlimited data, talk, and text, all on nationwide 5G. That's $25 a line per month with 4 lines with unlimited data, talk, text, and it's all on their nationwide 5G. Plus, there's no contracts, no hidden fees, no compromises. That's the Straight Talk talking. From Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart and walmart.com. Check out Straight Talk. That's a great deal. $25 a line. Pretty good. Plus, no contracts, no hidden fees, no compromises. Straight Talk. Go to Walmart. Check it out. All right, so some big news came out on Saturday. I don't know if you guys were in tune with the national news, but some big news regarding the John F. Kennedy assassination on Saturday.
I was too busy watching football. Lace me.
Yeah, look at you, big jock. Can't stay abreast of world events.
Fucking jock.
There's more important things in this world than sports, Arian. All right,
that's facts.
You have your bread and circus. I'm going to pay attention to the news. I'm going to see if I can describe this because it's kind of hard to describe. But I read, I think, every article that came out about this on Saturday. The JFK assassination. The official explanation, per the government investigation after the assassination of John F. Kennedy in Dallas, was that there was the magic bullet theory, right? So there was a shot that they had contended that entered John F. Kennedy's back, came out his neck after like making a turn inside of his body. They said maybe it deflected off a bone or something, but they said that the shot came through his back, deflected out the front of his neck, then went down and hit the governor of Texas, Governor Connolly, who was in the front seat of the limousine. And then it deflected off of like a bone or something in Connolly and then hit Connolly in the wrist, shattering his wrist. And then they recovered that bullet afterwards, and it was in like pristine condition. It was like an undamaged bullet. And that's the one that they've been saying was on the stretcher that Governor Connolly was on when they wheeled him into the hospital. So they're like, oh, it must have fallen out of his body, and it was just on the stretcher as we were starting to operate on him. So they say that was the first shot, and then there was another shot that hit John F. Kennedy in the back of his head, and that's the one that killed him, right? And the entire premise behind this was that they had to time out how many shots could have been taken in that specific amount of time, lining it up with like the footage of Kennedy reacting to the first shot, Kennedy's head getting hit, and that whole thing. They had to time it out to see if it was physically possible for one shooter to make these shots in quick succession. And with Marine snipers, they figured that it was about, I want to say around like 2.5, 3 seconds was the fastest that it can possibly be done to shoot, recock the rifle or whatever that, you pull the bolt on the rifle and then re-aim and shoot again. So the Secret Service agent that was assigned to Jackie Kennedy who is about 15 feet away from JFK when he got shot. He is going on the record and saying that he was there at the time, and there's video evidence, picture evidence, obviously, of him being there, and that the bullet that they found on Connolly's stretcher was not actually on Connolly's stretcher, but it was put on JFK's stretcher by the Secret Service agent. He says that as they were getting Jackie, they were pulling her off John F. Kennedy's body. They were putting the body onto a stretcher, wheeling it into the hospital. The Secret Service agent looked in the back of the limousine, and there was that magic bullet, the almost pristine looking bullet that was in between like a metal part of the car and the fabric of the seat. And he saw that there, and he's like, oh, this is probably a piece of evidence. I should probably put this with the president, or, just so that nobody else comes by and takes it. So he grabbed it he saw it wedged in there, and he takes it and he puts it on the stretcher. Somewhere along the lines, they mixed that up, and the people that were in the hospital reported that the bullet was found on Governor Connolly's stretcher, not JFK's stretcher. Why does that make a difference? Well, since they found it like behind where Kennedy was sitting in the car, it means that the first shot that came in and hit Kennedy in his back shoulder was that bullet was like undercharged and didn't have enough gunpowder in it. And so it hit him, didn't go like all the way in, and then it fell out into the back of the car. And that's not the same shot that went through the back of his neck and then went into Governor Connolly's body. And that was just that bullet was shattered into a bunch of different fragments. So that means that there's more shots than they originally reported in the Warren Commission, meaning there had to be more than one shooter.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Yeah. If you believe what this guy says, and there's no real reason to doubt it, I mean, I don't know why he'd make it up after all these years, but his explanation was that he was really fucked up after the shooting because he saw his boss's head get exploded, and he had PTSD, and he just like, it haunted him for years and years. He kind of went off the grid for a while, and they didn't interview him in the Warren Commission. They didn't really take any statements from him. And by the time he kind of came back to the world and followed up on anything that happened, they had already taken the record down. And it was years and years later that he saw that the bullet that he put on JFK's stretcher was actually misidentified as being taken off Governor Connolly's stretcher. So he just didn't ever correct it. And now he's, I think, 90 years old, and he's like trying to clear up, some misconceptions about what happened. But it raises a whole shitload of other questions if what he's saying is true.
I think I want to believe the guy, but after recently seeing my boss get shot, I was doing the shooting with a paintball gun. I actually totally misremembered what exactly happened. And I thought that in one instance I was shooting PFT in my memory, but it was actually Big Cat. So like he could have very easily put the bullet on Governor Connolly's stretcher thinking it was JFK. And at the time, remember, JFK's like not very recognizable. And everyone's just wearing suits back then.
All right. However, Billy, that still doesn't change the underlying premise that he found the bullet behind RFK or JFK in the limo. So it was a bullet that fell out of JFK's shoulder, not a bullet that he retrieved from like the front shotgun seat.
True.
So they're saying that there had to be two shooters, but it'd have to be a very similar angle, wouldn't it be?
Now it reintroduces the theory that maybe there was another shooter that was in front of JFK, because remember how his head goes back when he gets shot? So the Warren Commission kind of tried to explain the entire thing away by saying there was this magic bullet. And then they used that as kind of like their bedrock case and didn't really explore that well, like whether or not that shot could come from the front. So it means that the shot could have come from the front, knocked him back, or there could have been another shooter that was up in the depository.
Or underneath in the storm drain. That's one that I believe, because if you look at the angle, it's like directly on the complete opposite, like the same almost trajectory. Like if you shot a bullet from the storm drain to Oswald, like it's almost like a direct trajectory, so you can almost get away with the ballistics. I don't know.
There's another theory that it was a Secret Service agent that accidentally shot JFK. So after the first shots started coming in, they take their guns out, they return fire in the direction that they think the shots are coming from, and the fatal shot is actually fired by his own guy.
Have you heard RFK talk about how he thought his father got killed?
No.
And how he knows it was a secret agent? It was a Secret Service guy or security guy.
No, I haven't heard that.
He said on Mike Tyson's hot boxing podcast that the guy, it wasn't Sirhan Sirhan shot, and all 6 bullets from his revolver were accounted for, but the guy who shot him was the security guard standing behind him, who spent the rest of his life in the Caribbean. But it is, I don't think we really know what happened. I don't think we ever really will, because I think the documents keep getting delayed releases.
I don't know. It does look like, so like just looking at the footage again. It looks like it's very simultaneous when the dude gets his hand shot and then Kennedy goes back. So it could still be one bullet though. I don't see how.
Definitely more than one bullet.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just looking at it. I don't know enough about forensics. I don't know, but interesting shit. Great find. Send the article in the group chat. I would like to read that.
I will. I'll drop it in there right now, actually.
Drop that shit.
We also have an interview with Dan Patrick coming up here.
Yep.
All-time Stuart Scott story.
Oh, yeah.
Good to catch up with Dan, friend of the program. And we will see you guys on Thursday. Love you guys. All right, we welcome on a special guest of Macrodosing. Just talked to Dan last week. It's Dan Patrick from The Dan Patrick Show. He wrote a book, The Occasionally Accurate Annals of Football. The NFL's greatest players, plays, scandals, and screw-ups, plus stuff we totally made up. So it's fake news. Yeah. He wrote a fake news book. Thank you for joining us, Dan. I love the shirt you're wearing, the football guy shirt.
Thank you. I got a hookup. Big Cat took care of me. I asked for some swag, and he gave me the special discount code, and I was able to get something from Barstool. Thank you.
And you did not share that with the Danettes or anybody else?
No.
Correct?
No. You guys said don't share the 20% discount code, and I did not. It's just for me.
All right, cool. Where can people find your book? On Amazon?
Everywhere that you find books, you can find this fine book.
Okay, so make sure to check it out. We'll get into it in a little bit here. Arian, I want to turn it over to you. I don't know if have you met Dan?
More than likely. When you go through the wash and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have met, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's a lifetime ago. I played ball and did that whole circuit. But how's it going, my brother?
I think you were on the show. I don't know if we met in person, but I remember having you on my radio show.
Could have been the case, man. I hope I didn't disappoint.
No, you didn't. No, you were one of the great stories, though. You're one of those where somebody says, "Oh, keep an eye on this guy." Well, it feels like every draft or every season there's a keep an eye on this guy, and you were a keep an eye on this guy, and you didn't disappoint.
I appreciate that, man. They kept an eye on me, and I did well.
It looks like you were in person on February 1st, 2013.
There it goes. Look at that. Okay. Thank you for the fact check, Big T.
No problem.
Thank you.
That's also why, like, anytime I meet somebody, I always say nice to see you, just in case I've met them before, rather than nice to meet you. Because I've just met so many people and done so much stuff that I don't want disrespect our meeting,
I do that. I'll just say nice to see you again. Even if I haven't seen you, it's just easier to do it that way, because people will come up to me and go, "You remember me?" I'll go, "From what?" "No, I met you at the Super Bowl." "Which one?" They'll go, "Like Houston." I'll go, I don't. "I remember you." I go, "Okay, my bad."
Yeah,
I know the feeling.
Yeah, what you do and what I did is just you meet so many people that, you know what I mean. But anyway, man, nice to see you. Nice to talk to you, man. I wanted to ask you about your career trajectory and how you kind of got into what you got into, because to me that's not, from an outsider's perspective, it's not something that you was like, this is what I want to do. It's kind of like maybe you wanted to do something, you kind of fell into it or whatever. But how did you get into what you started in your initial career?
I knew at age 12 this is what I wanted to do. I didn't know how to do it because there was no step-by-step or any tutorial, but I knew that I wanted to be in sports, and I probably thought I was going to be in radio, and I was for a while, and then I couldn't get a job in sports, and I couldn't get a job in TV, and I thought I was just going to do radio, which I do love. That's my first love, but I was up for a job at a local station in Dayton, Ohio, and I was told by everybody I was getting the job. I was going to be the weekend sports anchor, and news director called me in and said, we're giving this to Ken Kettering. And I'm not even hearing him. I'm thinking he's saying he's got to tell Ken Kettering he didn't get the job. And I'm like, all right. And he goes, well, you're taking this well. And then I went, holy shit, I did not get this job. Well, there was a party at a bar, Flanagan's Pub in Dayton, Ohio, and we were going to have a celebration. I walk in, people are like, congrats, all the. I said, I didn't get the job. You got the job. Stop dicking her. I said, I didn't get the job. And so it was the most somber celebratory party that I've ever been involved in. And I drowned my sorrows. And then I had a former girlfriend who was in Atlanta, and she goes, why don't you come down here and see if go into CNN. They're hiring. This is the early 80s. I go, if I didn't get a job in Dayton, Ohio, I'm not getting a job at CNN. Brought a tape with me. Last day I was there, went in and got to see the guy who eventually hired me. And he watched my tape and he said, when can you start? He said, I'll start in a week. And I worked headline sports at CNN. And then I was there 5 years and my contract was running out. And I was demanding a $10,000 raise. And my boss came back at $5,000. So I thought he didn't want me. I called up John Walsh, who started SportsCenter. I said, John, do you know who I am? And he goes, yes. I said, you interested in hiring me? He goes, yes. It was a Friday. And he said, when can you come up? And I said, how about Monday? He said, all right. I flew up Monday and I signed my contract. And then I was doing SportsCenter, soon after that, the 11 o'clock SportsCenter. So it was kind of crazy. I knew I wanted to get there. I just didn't know. I wrote Bob Lee a letter and Greg Gumbel a letter saying, hey, could you look at my tape? Tell me if I'm any good. And Bob Lee wrote me like a full page review.
That's fire.
Of my tape saying, you're not ready yet. This is 5 years prior. He goes, you're not ready yet, but you will be one day. And then fast forward 5.5 years later, I'm sitting next to him on SportsCenter.
What kind of criticism did he have for you on your tape? Was it constructive or?
Yes, very. Yeah. I mean, I didn't cosmetically, aesthetically, I didn't look good. Well, I was told later, part of the reason why I didn't get the job as the weekend sportscaster is the other guy was better looking than me. And I thought, wait, isn't the guy who knows sports supposed to get the job? But I was told by some sources close to the news director that Ken Kettering was better looking. And he was at the time. I don't know what he looks like now, but blonde hair, blue eyes, and he was a better looking guy. It was my first real introduction to the cosmetic part of this that was a little bit humbling. When you have acne, your hair's parted down the middle, and but PFT, you can relate. I mean, like we all have those dry spells in our life, right?
Yeah, I've not experienced that yet. I think I
haven't.
I got my job because I'm so fucking hot.
I didn't say hot. I just said good looking. There's a difference in that.
I slept my way to the top. It's pretty easy. My story is vastly different from yours.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever happened with you and Big Cat, that's between you guys. I don't need to know anything about that. I'm happy for you.
We kiss every year on our birthdays. So his birthday is January 30th. Mine is 31st. So at midnight, we share a little kiss and then passing of the torch. Yeah.
Very hot.
It's a cute tradition that we have.
Very hot.
So did Bob Lee, when he was critiquing your film, was he like, you know what, you're good, but the ass needs a little work?
No, I think he was he just talked about how you had to have camera presence a little bit more. I ad-libbed 5 minutes of sports. I didn't have a prompter, and I think he thought that I was reading off prompter, but I didn't have it. I couldn't afford that, and it was just a makeshift camera that I set up, and we recorded it, and I sent it to him. But he was constructive through the entire. I knew he watched the whole thing because he talked about it from start to finish. And I thought it was very genuine on his part. It was very Bob Lee-like to be thorough. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And I always appreciated that.
There's one thing about like sportscasters that I think it's an intangible. You talk about, you know, getting critiqued and having your videotape critique and stuff. But there's one thing that's like intangible that y'all have. It's just you have to have a voice, a sonically sounding, pleasing voice, and you have one of those. It's like very deep. It's very it's like this warm feeling when I hear you, and maybe that's just the nostalgia growing up listening to you. But like all the great sportscasters have a voice and like a tagline or like something that they're known for. What would you say yours would be, or how did you come up with kind of your own little vibe in that realm?
I don't, you know, people always say be yourself, but I don't know what that means.
Okay,
because it just like who are you? Be that person on TV. Well, I wasn't the same person on TV that I am in my regular life, and vice versa. Like Dick Vitale doesn't sound like that when you're around Dick Vitale.
Right.
Like he's not going, awesome, you know, he's just like, he's very quiet. And you're going, damn. First time I met him, it's like, damn, that's not Dick Vitale. He's not going crazy. Chris Berman sounds like Chris Berman on and off the air. He's one of the few people who he doesn't have to be somebody different. But I really search for, you know, what kind of personality do you want to be? And I always wanted to let the product speak, that you had to present the product. You had to present the highlights, you had to present the story. You can't make it about yourself presenting the highlights. And, you know, I was guilty of that sometimes, but for the most part, it was make sure that people are tuning in and they're tuning in to get the highlights. Now you can have fun with the highlights. Don't mix up the order there. And I was lucky to have a good voice from an early age. And then you have to find a way to use it. And it's a weapon. It's a tool that you're able to use. And been very fortunate to be able to find my voice. And eventually it took a little while to find my personality.
You could deliver devastating news to somebody in that voice and it would sound good. Has that always been your voice, or did you make a conscious effort when you were getting into broadcasting? I have to have a non-regional accent. I have to enunciate this sort of thing. I have to, you know, present myself as a classical journalist.
I grew up in Ohio, and we don't have an accent where I'm from. Southern part of Ohio, there's no accent. But I didn't, and I've always had the voice. You know, once I got to puberty, then I had this voice. I had a grandmother who had a really deep voice. She drank a lot of bourbon and smoked Winston. So it might have been because of that. But I just remember, and I have an older brother who has a similar voice to mine. But, you know, you have it. And then, you know, I don't take it for granted. It's not one of those things where, because people say, what do you do to develop a voice? I haven't had to do that. But I've been around people who have had to take voice lessons to understand how to use your diaphragm and where are you speaking from. Don't be nasally, all of those things. I fortunately never had to worry about that.
As far as like inflection, my bad, bro. As far as like inflection, like from like newscasters, I've always wanted that, like, because that's a totally different vibe. But like, if you come across like the cadence in which you talk, I've always wondered that shit. Like when they deliver the news, it's like, and this at 5:00, 2 teams, and like it's very like, is there a reason for that? Because when I listen to it, I'm like, yo, that's goofy. Nobody talks like that. Why are they doing that to me?
I wanted to speak as if I was speaking to you if we were having a beer. Right. Not I get on TV and then you'll hear those local announcers coming up at 5. Yeah. And I never wanted to be a coming up at 5.
Right.
It was just coming up at 5 because you're trying to be conversational. I want to talk to you when I'm doing my show, whether it's radio or TV, and feeling like it's one-on-one. And that's what I encourage broadcast students. Speak to somebody, talk to somebody, not at somebody. And when you read, can you read it in a way it sounds like you're not reading? And those are challenges, but you know, I'm still working on that. I've been in the business 40 years now. You're trying to perfect it to a point where you're happy with it. And, you know, I nitpick, but I just love the sound. Radio gives you that sound, and you get to visualize whatever I say. If I say Aaron Rodgers, you can immediately picture something with Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. The power of radio is my voice presenting something to you, and then you get to visualize something. I don't have to describe it as much as allow you to help describe it with me. And I've always appreciated that one-on-one contact connection you have with radio. You allow me in your car. You allow me in your headphones. You allow me in your house. I mean, that's intimate. And, that's the power of radio, or having a voice where people recognize it and remember it.
It's a really cool way to describe it, because it's very, very true. And sometimes we don't think about it, but yeah, that's exactly what happens when you're listening to somebody on the radio. You're making your own thoughts out of their voice, which is just a wild thing. And you have to, I guess it's probably something that I could be more conscious of when I'm talking, but then maybe other times you really shouldn't be picturing what I'm saying in your mind's eye. That might be bad, especially if you're driving. I'm going to kick it over to Big T in a second, but I want to ask you about the book. In the book, The Occasionally Accurate Annals of Football, do you have anything about the draft in there? Because I have a draft question for you.
God, I don't know. We talk about so many damn things in here. Let me see. Let me get up my list.
My man's opened his book to see what's in the book.
Yeah.
Well, Dan did a great job, and he had other people write his book for him. He had all his friends
love that.
write a book.
Love that.
Okay, so we have a one-act play about the Tuck Rule. We have the Immaculate Reception presented as a sermon. We have the butt fumble. We have trash talk. Let's see. We fix penalties. We fix the Jets. What to bring to a tailgate. No, I don't remember anything about the draft.
Okay, that's fine. I do have a draft question for you, though.
Okay.
As it pertains to Kyler Murray and Caleb Williams. Okay. And I know that you've had Kyler on the show. I think it might have been at the same Super Bowl that we interviewed Dan Marino, and you had a similar type of interaction with Kyler.
Oh, it could not have been anywhere near what Kyler Murray was with me.
He was just, I don't think he was ready to do media. He wasn't ready to go on the air and discuss anything, really.
It was one of those moments where I keep thinking, okay, is he punking me? Because we didn't know if he was going to play football or baseball. But I had a source who said, if he's a top 10 pick, he's going to play football. So I'm saying this to him, but he doesn't want to answer it. He won't answer it. His dad's all the way in the back of the room. I eventually got around to interviewing his dad in the back of the room, like yelling out questions, because Kyler froze. And he was willing to talk about Gatorade, but he didn't want to talk about anything else. I go, dude, you got to help me here. This is quid pro quo. You give, and I'll give a little bit, but he wouldn't do it. Teams actually looked at that video, and there were two teams that, if they had the choice, from what I'm told, really had second thoughts about drafting Kyler Murray based off of that. And, the Cardinals went in all in for him. And he since came back on the show, and we joked about it. But, man, that was painful. That's one of those moments. It's live TV, live bullets, and there was nothing I could do. And I didn't want to embarrass him. He's 21 years of age. But at some point, it's, survival. And, I was ready to kick him to the curb.
Yeah, the people around him are probably more to blame for that one. I mean, as a human being, he probably should have been able to answer a couple questions. But if you're going to be doing live TV, you should be ready to answer questions about.
I don't think he was told how to do it, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like that. Somebody should have prepared him for that.
Yeah, because they said, look, you're going to make money from Gatorade. You're going to make X number of dollars. People are going to ask you questions. Well, everybody wanted to know the same thing. Like, why would you choose football, or why would you stay with baseball? And he didn't want to answer any of that. And then we got around to Gatorade, and then that was it. I sent him on his way.
Yeah, he didn't blindside him with anything. But the story that's just coming out right now is from Caleb Williams' dad. He said the funky thing about the NFL draft process is he'd almost be better off not being drafted than being drafted first. The system is completely backwards. The way the system is constructed, it's the worst. You go to the worst team possible. The worst possible team, the worst organization in the league, because of their desire for parity, gets the first pick. So it's the gift and the curse. So if there's not a good situation, the truth is he can come back to school. It sounds to me like they're laying the groundwork for Caleb Williams to pull an Eli Manning on draft night if it's a team like – the only team that you can say confidently right now appears to be in tanking mode would be the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
And it sounds to me like they're laying the groundwork of if he gets drafted by the Cardinals, we're going to demand a trade right off the bat. Do you think that the draft is completely broken?
No. I thought it was broken when rookies would get $50 million and they hadn't done anything. Meanwhile, you had veterans who had done something and they were kind of getting crumbs here. That's when I thought there was a big problem. But, this is the way it's always going to be. The worst team is going to get the best player. And if he can use that leverage, let's say he's making $7 million at USC. Okay. So put your name back in the hopper and, I'm sure the USC collectives will up the ante to $10 million or even more. And then you get to stay. And then hopefully you go to the team that you want to go to. But you're going to go to a bad team unless somebody is going to trade up. The Bears had the number 1 pick. Well, if somebody is willing to trade with you, then, there's a chance you go to a better team. And I still think that quarterbacks who go later in the draft have a better chance of succeeding because you're going to a better team instead of, I got to be the savior. C.J. Stroud in Houston or Bryce Young in Carolina. They got a long road there. But if you're drafted a little bit later on, chances are you might not start right away, but you're going to be with a better coach, more stable organization, and a better team. If you put Mahomes in Chicago, what are the Chicago Bears? Are they that much better?
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
I disagree.
There's nothing he can do.
That man is
That's
bad.
an interesting what if.
Who's he throwing it to?
Yeah,
Big Cat famously said that
No.
Patrick Mahomes was
bad.
drafted by the Bears, he would have got hit
man.
by a bus the next day.
They're not a playoff. Dan, they're not a playoff team if Patrick Mahomes there.
Last year's team?
At the very least, they knocking at the door in the playoffs.
You are crazy.
I think that's probably
That
the
man
one
is
example that,
bad.
that I
Have
would
you
disagree
watched?
with. Patrick
Have you
Mahomes
looked
could
at
go to
that
any team.
roster? I mean,
I've looked at him. That man is the savior. That man is amazing.
I could have put Montana on the Bears, Brady on the Bears, Aaron Rodgers on the Bears, Marino, Elway. Nothing's changing.
This might be a hot take, but I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be better than all of them. That's just my personal opinion, though. I've already had a hot take with Brady and Rodgers, but that boy is bad.
I don't think he's had good Super Bowl numbers, by the way. Just looking at, when it comes to the big game, I don't know if Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback in the Super Bowl last year.
We had that fumble 6. He had that
Yes,
terrible fumble.
he did.
Probably the difference in the game.
But he might have been the MVP. You're only as good as the team around you. In basketball, LeBron can take the Cavaliers team to the NBA Finals. You can't do that in the NFL. You can be a great quarterback. Brady's only great because why? He had a really good defense, had the greatest coach of all time, and he had just enough that he can make it all work. Aaron Rodgers, great organization. They draft really well. You got to have that. If not, you're going to be a talented player who is going to be on a team that doesn't make the playoffs.
I'm with you, but the unique thing about Mahomes is that if, let's say, you have a Mahomes, is he allows you to build a less dynamic offense than you would have to have normally, because he can make any throw on the field. He can scramble, he can run, he can get out of the pocket, he can throw on the run. He does things better than most quarterbacks have ever done them.
Aaron Rodgers has done this before Patrick Mahomes did.
Agreed. I made the argument that I think he's the greatest quarterback of all time, Aaron Rodgers. He's my favorite quarterback of all time. But I think at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I think Patrick Mahomes has the opportunity to be better than him. Well, is better more Super Bowls? No, I don't measure it by that metrics. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay. I think if you take Pat Mahomes and you put him on the Bears, maybe they don't make the playoff, but they scratching at the door. He's that good. He's that good. You gotta have a good team around you. I agree. I mean, I once agree. Again, basketball is 5 guys. I'm with you. Look at the first team that LeBron took to the NBA Finals. Pedestrians. That doesn't happen. Damn, one of them dudes my homies. But I feel Who's your homie? Booby Gibson. Oh, okay. Well, but once again, you're making the point,
Booby got to play, but you had Big Z, and I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
No, I'm with you.
They played the Spurs, and I was like, this isn't fair.
No, I'm with you. The ring argument with me is null and void. I don't do the ring argument unless basketball. Basketball is a different story. But like with football, I don't do the ring argument. But what I'm saying is there are players that make you better. And I think Mahomes makes people, he gives the opportunity for people to be better. Like
John Elway was Mahomes before Mahomes, and he was a better athlete.
what?
John Elway
A better Well, how do we define an athlete? Maybe that's
how do you want to?
Are you saying Elway was more mobile than Mahomes?
Yes. Elway was an unbelievable athlete.
I wouldn't say unbelievable, but all right, I'm gonna give you that. I think that's your error.
He was
so
he drafted by the Yankees. You know, I know Mahomes could play baseball. I'm just saying Elway did this stuff. Look at he never had an all-pro skill position guy when he took those bad offenses to the Super Bowl. They had a really good defense, and they had Elway. Three amigos, never a Pro Bowl. He had Gary Zimmerman, a tackle who was an all-pro. That was it. He took those teams, and they got blown out, but Elway would get blamed. But Elway was unbelievable. He was. Marino's, to me, the guy who changed the position. Marino was five wide, no backfield, and he was quick release before anybody did that. And he's throwing for 5,000 yards in 1984 and 48 touchdowns. In today's game, can't touch him. He doesn't have to be mobile, and he's just going to he'll throw for close to 6,000 yards. So we've had these guys before. We like what's on the menu right in front of us. Mahomes is spectacular. So much fun to watch. But there are guys, Montana was a great athlete too. Steve Young could have played running back. He was a great quarterback.
Come on. Steve Young could not have played running back, Dan. You wildin'.
Have you seen when the run against the Minnesota Vikings, when he basically runs through everybody in the Vikings defense there?
Brother, there is a very specific difference between scrambling and having an open field in front of you.
Okay.
And having runs designed where you got 8, 9 men in the box. Those are two different worlds.
I'll give you that.
Right.
I'll give you the 9 men in the box. But look at Steve Young, the athlete.
No, I think he was the first runner, like mobile quarterback I want to say first, but he was one of the first ones that was like, yo, you have to account for him. Maybe put a spy on him, stuff like that. He was
completing almost 70% of his passes. We look at mobile quarterbacks, and they don't complete that. He did. Michael Vick, incredible athlete. He wasn't a great percentage quarterback.
Okay.
I don't know how we got to this point. But back to Mahomes, if he was on the Bears, they're not sniffing the playoffs.
I think you're insane on that one. But it's good. I'm glad that we found the one guy out there that still thinks that Patrick Mahomes is not that great. So I appreciate that, Dan.
No, I think he's awesome. I just think we get caught up in one guy when he goes to a team. Can he turn them around? Bryce Young's not going to turn that team around right now. C.J. Stroud's not going to. Trevor Lawrence is an extremely talented quarterback. We're going to find out if he's a great quarterback this year, which I think we will. But you go to these teams because they're bad, and we go to the quarterback, hey, save us. Justin Fields can't save the Bears right away, and he was one of the most dynamic players in the NFL last year.
Yeah, their defense wasn't very good. And you're right about the Chiefs. The Chiefs weren't a bad team when Mahomes went there.
They won 12 games. They had Alex Smith. They won 12 games and kicked him to the curb. You got Kelsey, a Hall of Famer. You had Tyreek Hill, who might be a Hall of Famer. Chris Jones is a great player. They had players, and Andy Reid's a Hall of Fame coach. Because he got drafted later, that was his benefit, instead of going to a crappy team, which is the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, and that's why I'm hearing that Caleb Williams is going to hold out and demand to be drafted by the Washington Commanders.
If you got the leverage, use the leverage. Elway didn't want to play for the Baltimore Colts.
Yep.
He didn't. He was like, no, I'll go play baseball. And then they eventually traded him. Eli didn't want to go to the Chargers organization. All right. So they ended up trading him. So if you have the leverage and you can use it, great. I have no problem with that.
I agree. Big T, I know that you had a couple questions.
Yeah, good to talk to you, Dan. I wanted to switch gears to college football for a minute. I'm a Tennessee grad. you broke the infamous McDonald's bag story, I believe, like the first day after Jeremy Pruitt was fired. Do you at all regret the accuracy of that reporting, given that it was a Chick-fil-A bag? And I don't know if you followed the ensuing NCAA investigation, but Jeremy Pruitt told investigators he was compelled to give that particular family money in the wake of racial unrest in the country at the time. Does that change anything for you as well?
No.
He's got you dead to rights, though, on the Chick-fil-A bag.
It was Chick-fil-A.
Well, first of all, so I'm supposed to believe a coach who lied to begin with, but now he's going to tell me the truth that he had Chick-fil-A and not McDonald's. All I know is that there was a player who was on the team who transferred, and there was a coach on that team who told me that he spoke to his player, and his player said they got money in a McDonald's bag. So that's all I know. All I know is, was it true that they were getting money in a fast food bag? And the answer is yes. Not everybody was getting money because of some kind of racial insensitivity or equality or whatever. Other guys were just getting, the bag with something in the bag, which had nothing to do with anything other than we're trying to get you to come to Tennessee.
Yeah, it didn't work too well either.
No, we saw and how many different violations was he guilty of?
Oh, who knows?
It wasn't just, hey, you know what we're doing? We're going to pay you with fast food bags and put money in there, or a few other things there. But look, I stand by the story, and I know Tennessee people were upset about it. I have no, axe to grind with Tennessee, nothing. I was just told the story. I told the story. That's it. Couldn't care less, have no, bias against Tennessee whatsoever. Glad they're back. Heupel's done a wonderful job.
Yeah, whatever it took to get Jeremy Pruitt out of there,
you go.
I'm on
I
board
helped you
with
out
as well. Yes, definitely.
Maybe I didn't. I don't.
Just maybe in future tellings of that story, you just update the facts.
Yeah, I just say Chick-fil-A bag.
Get it right.
Much classier establishment.
Yes, I agree. But you can't get it on Sunday, right? You can't get Chick-fil-A, so they couldn't pay the recruits on Sunday because is Chick-fil-A closed on Sunday?
That's what's messed up about the Falcon Stadium, Mercedes-Benz.
I know.
They have a Chick-fil-A in it, and they play games on Sunday.
No.
But they just flip it. It's a place that I believe it still serves like chicken and waffle fries. It's just not Chick-fil-A.
But that's not this. I don't want to go to a Chick-fil-A. I don't want Chick-fil-A signage all around me, and then I get served a non-Chick-fil-A
They
sandwich.
have they flip it. They literally flip the sign, and it's
Okay.
called something different.
A different one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Billy, I know that you have a question for Dan specifically pertaining to your own personal experiences.
No, so Dan, in 2007, you left ESPN in the largest sports show on TV. I was just wondering how you dealt with criticism. Do you have any regrets about that? And, what went into that decision?
I have no regrets. I did at the time, I think after the fact, it was like, post-traumatic stress where I went, oh my God, no one leaves ESPN, at least back then. Now you get fired, or the laid off. But back then, I just got to a point in my career where I was like, I'm not getting any better. I've kind of mastered SportsCenter. What else is there? And then I kind of worried that, was I going to just stay there? Everybody else had left. Whether they were doing specialty shows. I was the last holdout from a previous regime doing SportsCenter. And I thought, God, I don't want to be the old guy doing SportsCenter. And I thought, you know what? Let me try to do something on my own. And man, you don't realize how powerful those 4 letters are. Even to this day, people say, hey, I love watching you on SportsCenter. I haven't been on SportsCenter in 17 years.
That's actually crazy.
It is. But I was on every day, every night,
Right.
and then re-air in the morning, and you become part of somebody's life. You're going to school. Right before you go to school, you watch SportsCenter. Right before you go to bed. Very, very powerful, imprint to have on people. And I was willing to give that up. I went home and I set up a studio in my attic, and I had all my guys come in every morning at 7 a.m, and my wife would be getting kids off to school, and we'd go upstairs and do a national radio show. And it was awesome because I was doing it on my own. Like if I was going to succeed, it'd be because of me. If I was going to fail, it'd be because of me. Not you're only good because you're, with ESPN. I kind of needed to get my ass handed to me a little bit, to be honest with you. And I did. I did for 3 years, when you're doing it out of, when people say, hey, you're not on SportsCenter. What are you doing now? I'm doing a radio show in my attic. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I go, no, it's okay. Like, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. But it was a little nerve-wracking because I wasn't sure if it would lead to anything bigger. And we had 12 radio stations, and now we're close to 400. But that's 17 years of trying to build it up, and we eventually got out of the house and have an unbelievable man cave.
I love it. That's very good advice.
Yeah. I've had a couple of people who, some still at ESPN, a couple who've left, who wanted advice on leaving ESPN. And I would tell them, don't leave. Don't leave. Because, man, you walk out that door and you're dead to ESPN. They were pretty tough to me. Yeah, they were telling radio affiliates, if you carry my program, then they would drop you as an affiliate. And it got ugly for about 10 years. And
who makes those? I always wonder who makes those calls, because like if you want to drop names, you don't have to. Of course, I don't want you. I don't want you in any. I don't want you in any.
Everything's good now, Arian.
Okay, cool.
I don't. Yeah, we're good. But right. I had to go to upper management, right. And I just said, how about we level the playing field here? Because you're acknowledging me that I am still a threat.
A threat, yeah.
But let's level the playing field and see how this goes. Can we do that? And John Skipper, to his credit, basically called off the dogs, and he said, all right, we'll make this work. We'll make, because I said, look, I gave you 18 years of my life. All I'm asking is, let me just do this. I'm the little engine that could, and maybe I couldn't, but that was all I was asking. Level playing field. Let me just try to do this show. And, it took a long time, but it empowered us, because I'm like, you know what? Fuck, they're nervous about us. And then, that was sort of kind of let us feel a little bit more powerful, or we have something to say, or we can still be a player in the game.
So it was John Skipper. So it's John Skipper's on site. But I do have a question for you, man. 2 questions. Because of your old ties with ESPN, and I had an opportunity to do the wash and all that stuff, and you kind of develop friends with the Super Bowl parties and stuff like that. And so I have people that I bumped and ran into, and growing up, my GOAT was Stuart Scott, right? And I got a chance to meet him and talk with him, and it was really dope developing that relationship. Who is your GOAT? Like, who of all time? Anybody you ever came across? Anybody you looked up to? Whatever. Who is your all-time sports commentator GOAT?
It was probably a combination of a lot of different people. I always respected Bob Costas because he just did it. He had composure. He was quick. He was smart. I worked at CNN with Nick Charles and Fred Hickman, and I saw chemistry with 2 guys who had nothing in common off the air, but they got on TV and they were wonderful. Chris Berman's courage to do what he did when he did it. I always admired that. Al Michaels, growing up listening to him, he did Cincinnati Reds baseball for a year. I remember hearing him and then being around him. I like Keith Jackson when he did football because he sounded like football.
Right.
Vin Scully, that he could make you see everything on radio. He had that ability to make you, even if you couldn't see, he's going to let you see what Dodger Stadium looked like, everything that was going, the nuance of things. So there were a lot of different people who got involved, I think. And then you sort of sample, you kind of figure out, can I do that? What can I borrow? What do I want to try to emulate, admire? And being a good writer, being knowledgeable too. There are certain guys behind the scenes that I always appreciated them as well. Howie Schwab, Stump the Schwab. He might be the smartest guy I ever met when it came to knowledge. And so there's so many of those people down through the years that I just kind of, you wanted to be professional. That was it. And Stuart and I had a unique relationship. We were very, very competitive with each other. I don't know if we liked each other.
Oh, wow.
We respected each other. Well, Stuart wanted my job.
Right.
And he was doing the 1 o'clock with Rich Eisen, and I was doing the 11 o'clock. And, you know, we'd play hoops, we'd play football, flag football. And, you know, Stuart was very, very competitive. And I always admired that. But what he did at the end of his life, when he went out for the ESPYs, and I was told he was too sick to be able to fly. He got out there and he gave that speech, and I went, holy shit. Like that is a man right there. I had never had more respect. And I did have respect for him because he took chances. He was willing. He wanted to do it his way. And there were a lot of people in management who did not think highly of what Stuart was doing, or they had to tolerate Stuart. And but he was not afraid, man, not afraid. And we played basketball one time against each other, and it was all the Sports Center anchors that came out and played. And I said, "All right, I'll go out, but I just want to run up and down the floor, sweat. That's all." I said, "I don't want somebody picking me up full court." I was promised. Now we're just going to run down. Well, who picks me up full court? Stuart Scott. So he's got his Air Jordans on. He's got his goggles on. He's got Air Jordan shirt and shorts and shoes and sweatbands and, you know, the whole thing. And I go, I'll be damned. You're going to pick me up full court. So it got chippy. And, you know, he's forearming me, you know, bodying me, the whole thing. And at one point, I'm embarrassed to say, I was dribbling down the floor, and I said, "Where do you want me to fucking score on you?"
Ooh.
And he didn't say anything because he knew that I was a better player than he was. But here I was being a dick on the floor, and I was like, okay, now you got me. I'm going to be this competitive guy. And I said, I'm dribbling with my left hand. And I remember he's down on the floor like he's, you know, a Duke basketball player slapping the floor. And I said, "Where do you want me to fucking score on you?" And then I went baseline. Went up for a layup. He undercut me.
Oh.
I land on my back. I'm out. They put me in the bleachers, and it's point. So, and I like 10 minutes, 15, who knows how long. And they go, "You got to get to the hospital." I said, "Fuck that." I said, "It's our ball." So I went to the top of the key, took a shot, made the shot, got in my car, and I actually drove over a curb. I mean, I never should have been behind my Jeep Cherokee. I'm driving over a curb on the grass at the Canton YMCA, and I drive myself to the emergency room. I have a chipped vertebrae. I go to work that night. Stuart's there. Walk in. Stuart doesn't say a word. I don't say a word. I'm like, all right, we're good. And that was the kind of relationship that we had. But it was complex, but it was real. It was competitive in there because everybody wanted other people's jobs and how much money you're making. And we had so much talent in there. But, you know, I always appreciated that with all of the things that we maybe didn't agree on. You know, we agreed that we were going to compete with each other. And he made me better. And I hope I made him better.
I wish we had footage of that basketball game.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing story. And I relate to it so much because as I look back at my career, a lot of my competitive relationships were in the moment. I was like, yo, fuck this dude. I can't stand this dude. But like at the end, you know, when you start like looking towards the end of things, you're like, damn, like I appreciated that partnership or that relationship so much because it pushed me and it drove me to be somebody way better than I would have been at the end. And maybe we didn't like each other in the moment. At the end of the day, yeah, man, we needed each other. Like that's a beautiful. So I appreciate you sharing.
But I did reach out to him. We wanted to have him on after his speech, and he was flying back, and ESPN PR said he's just not up to it. But he did want me to tell you something about that he knocked me on my ass. So I respected it. You know, even as he's dying, he's still competing. And I was like, yep, he did. He undercut me. But I hear I'm telling PR at ESPN, yeah, but I scored. Like the next I scored on. Like, shut up. You know, what am I doing?
That's a great story. That's an all-timer. Well, Dan, thank you for joining us. You can pick up his book, The Occasionally Accurate Annals of Football.
Annals, and I just picked it up right here. It's Annals.
There you go.
That's my only regret, you know, like the ANNALN. Like we could have come up with a better word for that.
I like it as it is. I'm not going to forget it.
Yeah. How many shows do you do, PFT?
So I do these 2 shows right now. So I do Part of My Take thrice a week, 3 times, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I do Macrodosing on Tuesday and Thursday. So
and he has an OnlyFans.
I do not have an OnlyFans. No, I don't. No, not yet.
Okay, but once you're done, like your day is done when we hang up.
No. So we're gonna tape. So this show we just kind of meander through a variety of topics, whatever we're interested in that week. So it's not necessarily about sports. It could be about anything. Like last week we did an entire episode on North Korea, and so we'll go on for 3-4 hours sometimes. So it's a long show. Yeah.
Well, what's the normal amount of time that you guys spend on microdose?
I'd say like
2 to 3?
3 hours,
2 to
3.5 hours.
Anywhere from 2 to 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a marathon. It's a little bit different though, you know, because I do strictly sports for the most part on Part of My Take, and then get to explore anything else and kind of get more into my personal life and less, you know, in the hot take zone that I find myself in on Part of My Take.
But that's what you strike me as you might have a public persona, but privately, are you different?
Well, so it's interesting that you say that because the way that we got started on Part of My Take was I was a writer, and I developed a character. What if there was an internet commenter that commented on Mike Florio's Pro Football Talk, and you gave him his own blog, right? So complete with all the misspellings, all that stuff. I just had the worst, stupidest, dumbest, hottest takes ever. And then that evolved into being, you know, a pretty successful writer online, wrote a book, and things kind of started to balloon. And then Eric Stengel from the David Letterman show reached out to me, and he said, I think you should try podcasting. And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm just a writer. Like I've never thought about podcasting. I was on the radio in college, but that was a little bit different. I did like a comedy radio show. And he was like, no, I think you'd be good at it. You should try it. So he took me to the Sirius studio in New York and had me record a demo. And then they wanted to put me on the air every week doing a 30-minute or maybe an hour-long show every week. And I think they offered me $35 a week to do that. And so I was like, you know what? Like I'm not in the habit of saying no to opportunities, but if I'm going to have to fly to New York and record a radio show and then fly back, that the math's not really working out well for me right now. And so then Big Cat eventually reached out to me because we always used to get our blogs compared to each other because we would say a lot of the same jokes or have a lot of the same takes. And Big Cat reached out. He was like, hey, we just got this money from Churnin. We want to expand our podcasting. I want you to be a co-host. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Never in a million years did I think that it would take me to this place. But I kept that character going on Part of My Take, which has been dulled a little bit throughout the years because no one wants to listen to me get on the air 3 times a week and say the absolute stupidest stuff possible. So I sprinkle a little bit of dumb shit in there, but it's become more, I guess, more towards who I actually am in real life.
Well, thanks for having me on. Great to talk to you again. And
Thank you,
good
Dan.
luck with the show. Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good luck.